Hey everyone, this is Hafizullah Masoudi and you're watching From Code with Hafiz. I welcome you to the 7th video of this series in which we will discuss HTML iframes, HTML JavaScript, HTML file paths and HTML head section. Now first of all, what are HTML iframes? Well, an HTML iframe is used to display a web page within a web page. The HTML iframe tag specifies an inline frame which can be used to embed another document within the current HTML document. Now we can declare the title attribute for the iframe tag, which can be used by screen readers to read out what the content of the iframe is. And we can also declare the height and width attributes to specify the size of the iframe. So the height and width are specified in pixels by default. So guys, let's declare an iframe, but before that what I will do is create another document or HTML document, because that will be the document I will be loading inside the iframe. So to do this, let's get back to our text editor to create another document. So to create a new document, we can press Ctrl N and let's save this inside our project directory, which is in my desktop and HTML projects. Now I will name it, for example, example.html, and in here first of all let's declare our doc type. So doc type HTML, and let's declare the HTML tag and let's close it. And inside here let's create our body tag, and for this one I will only create a first header. So let's say h1 and let's say example document, and let's also declare a style for the body. So let's say background color should be powder blue. Now this being done, let's get back to our other text editor, and in here first of all let's remove all of our stylings, and let's also remove all other HTML tags. Let's remove this, and now to create an iframe we can use the iframe tag. So let's close it also, and what we have for this tag is the source attribute, in which we can declare the path to the file. So in our case it will be example, so example.html, and then we can declare a height and width for it. So let's say height, so height should be 200, and let's declare a width for it. So it should be, let's say, 300, and remember we can also declare a title attribute. So let's say example iframe. Now let's save this, and if you go to the browser, refresh now you can see it's loading our HTML document. Now we can use the style attribute also to declare the height and the width of the iframe, and not only we can use the attributes of height and width, so keep that in mind. Now we can target an iframe also to load a link. So for this to accomplish, we will use an attribute which is a name attribute, and to show you this one, let's get back to the text editor, and what I will do is, let's say we want to remove the source from here, and in here let's press enter and create a paragraph first. So let's close it, and inside this paragraph let's create an anchor tag. So let's close this one also, and let's say load iframe. And for the href, what we want to do is we want to load our example HTML. So let's say example.html, and next up what we want to do is target. So let's say target, and we want to target the iframe or our iframe. So in this case let's name it demo iframe, and now we have to declare a name attribute for this iframe. So in here let's say name, we should equal to demo iframe. Now if I save this, get back to the browser, and if I refresh, for now you can see it's empty, and if I click on it, now you can see it's loading our document. Now this was everything about iframes. Now let's discuss HTML JavaScript, and by this I do not mean to teach you JavaScript, but to only show you why you need JavaScript and how you can use it in your web page. So first of all, JavaScript makes HTML pages more dynamic and interactive, and by this I mean we can have more control over the elements within a web page. So to add a JavaScript, we can use the script tags to define a client-side script or JavaScript. Well, the script element either can contain script statements, or it can contain or point to an external script file through the source attribute. So common use cases for JavaScript are image manipulation, form validation, and dynamic changes of content. And to select an HTML element, JavaScript most often uses the document.getElementById method. So let me show you an example in which we will write hello JavaScript message into an HTML element using the ID attribute. So let's get back to our text editor, guys, and what I will do is let's remove this HTML tags from here, and let's create an paragraph tag. So let's close it, and for this tag what I will do is I will give an ID attribute, and let's name it demo. And after the paragraph, let's create a button. So you don't know about the button tag, and this is how we can create a button. So we have to declare a starting tag and then the closing tag, and inside the tags we have to declare the text for the button. So let's say click me, and to use JavaScript on this button we can use a click event. So to use a click event, we can say on a click, which should equal to a function, and this will be a JavaScript function. So let's name it my function. And next up, let's also declare the type of the button. So type attribute, and we want to say this button is type of button. Now let's save this and let's press enter here. Now to write some JavaScript code, we have to open our script tags. So let's close it, and now inside here whatever we write, it will be a JavaScript code. So let's create our function. So function my function, and then parentheses, curly braces, and inside here we want to, first of all, let's say we want to put something inside this paragraph, or a text inside this paragraph. So what we can do is, as I already told you, we can use the document.getElementById, and inside here we want the demo ID, which is the ID of the paragraph. And then to change the inner text of the paragraph, we can use a function which is inner HTML, and we want to equal this to a text. So in here let's say hello world, and now let's save this. And if you go to the browser now, refresh, now if I click on it, you can see it's showing our message. Now JavaScript can change styles too. So to show you this one a little bit, let's get back to the text editor, and in here what we can do is press enter, or we can copy this line of code and let's press enter. But this time, instead of inner HTML, to give it some styling, we can use the style function, and then let's say we want to change the font size. So let's say font size, and then we want to say, let's suppose we want to make the font 25px, and let's copy this line again for some more styling. And next one is, let's say we also want to change the color of the text, and let's say we want the text to be red. And finally let's also change the background color. So let's say background color, and we want this one to be yellow. Now let's save this, get back to the browser, refresh, and if I now click on it, you can see now we have our nice text. So guys, this was everything about HTML and JavaScript. Next up we have HTML file paths. So a file path is something that describes the location of a file in a website's folder structure, and file paths are used to link external files like web pages, images, style sheets, and JavaScripts. Now you must remember from one of our previous videos that I told you that we have absolute file paths and relative file paths, and if you didn't have watched our previous videos, don't worry, I will now explain it again in case you didn't watch the previous videos. So an absolute file path is the full URL to a file. For example, if we get back to the text editor, let's remove this code because we don't need it, and to show you an example, let's declare an image tag, and for the image tag we have the source attribute. And to declare an absolute file path, let's say we want to load a picture from an external website. So to get an image URL, guys, we can get back to our browser and let's open a new tab and let's search for wiki common because we want to use a free image. So let's go to this first link, and in here at the search, let's search for nature, and let's suppose we want to load this first image. So let's click on it, and we have to go to this link, and in here what we can do is click on this use this file, and we can copy the file URL. So let's copy it and get back to our text editor and paste it in the source, and let's also declare a width for it. So width, let's say suppose we want 400 pixels, and let's also declare an alt attribute in case we have some errors in our URL. So let's say nature, and if I save it now, get back to the browser and project tab, refresh, now you can see the loading is taking some time because it's loading the image. And the idea is here to show you an absolute URL example, and in here you can see this is an absolute URL because we have declared everything that comes in a URL. For example, https:// and then all the other part of URL. So let's get back to the browser, and now you can see the image is being loaded. So next up we have relative file paths, which point to a file relative to the current page. For example, pointing to a file in the images folder located at the root of the current web. So to show you this one, let's get back to our text editor, and in here what I will do is comment this one. So you remember we can create a comment like this, and let's declare the closing tag after the image, so dash dash less sign. Now let's create another image tag, and let's say we want a source for it, and in here let's also say an alt attribute, and let's say it should be image. Now for the source of a relative file path, if we have a slash, for example, and then images slash, let's say 1.jpg, well, this example shows the images folder is located at the root of the current web page. Now to remove the first slash, it will mean that the images folder is located in the current folder. So before that, let's go to the browser and check this link if it works. So if I refresh now you can see it's not working because we are not in the root of our web. So if we remove the slash and get back to the browser, refresh, now our image is working, and that is because if we want to point to a file in the images folder located in the folder or in the current folder, we have to always write our URLs or relative URLs like this, no slash or anything. And to see this directory, let's go to my file explorer. So you can see this is the document that we are loading in the browser, and this is the images folder. And if you want to point to a file in the images folder located in the folder one level up from the current folder, it would be like this. So let's get back to the text editor. We can declare a double dot and then a slash. It will mean that we want to load a file from the images folder, and this folder will be located one level up from the current folder that we are loading our document. So keep this in mind that it's best practice to use relative file paths if possible, and when using relative file paths, your web pages will not be bound to your current base URL. All links will work on your own computer localhost as well as on your current public domain and your future public domain. So make sure that it works in your localhost so it will work on a real server also. Now this was everything about HTML file paths. Now let's discuss the final topic of this video, and then we are done for today. So next up we have the HTML head section, which is a container for holding the title element, style element, meta element, link element, script element, and base element. So first of all we have the head element itself, and you can already see in our text editor that we have the head element declared from our previous videos, and this element will contain all the metadata related to our web page, and it is places between the HTML opening tag, as you can see this part, and the body opening tag, which is this part. So you can see the head tag is between the HTML opening and body opening tag. Now note that the metadata will not be displayed in the browsers. So first of all, what we have in the head section is the title element, which must be text only, and it will be shown in the browser's title bar or the pages tab. So let's declare our title for this document, and we can do that using the title element. And let's close the title tag. So title, and inside here whatever we will write should be text. So let's say example document, and let's save this. And if we get back to the browser now, refresh, now you can see at the very top in our browser's tab, now it's showing our title of the page, which is example document. Now next up we have the style attribute in the head section, which you already know about and is used to define style information for a single HTML page. So to show you this one again, let's get back to the text editor and let's create a paragraph, for example, and let's declare a text for it. So let's say this is a paragraph, and let's go to the head section, and in here now we can use the style tag or element, and let's say the paragraph should have, for example, color of red, and let's save it, get back to the browser, refresh, now you can see the paragraph is red. So this is how you can use the style element inside the head section. Now next up we have the HTML link element in the head section, which you also know about from our previous videos, and it is used to define the relationship between the current document and an external resource. So to show you an example of this one, let's declare a link tag. So always declare your links at the top. So in here we can use the link tag, and let's suppose we want to link our external styles.css file. So we have to declare the relationship, which is style sheet, and then we can declare the href or the path for that file. So it's in the same directory, so let's say styles.css, and if we go to the styles.css file, so let me go to my file explorer and let's open this one with text editor. So you can see we already have some styling for the paragraph, and what we can do is now we can comment, or let's remove this style tag from here. Now if we get back to the browser, refresh, now you can see it's loading or linking our external resource. Now next up we have the HTML meta element in the head section, and this element is typically used to specify the character set, page description, keywords, author of the document, and viewport settings. Note that this information will not be displayed on the page but is used for browsers to display content or reload the page, or by search engines to specify keywords and other web services. So to show you the examples of meta tag, let's go to the text editor, and in here to declare a meta tag, always remember to keep it at the very top. So let's declare a meta tag, and let's suppose we want the character set. So let's say char set, and it should equal to UTF-8. So this is how you can declare the character set meta tag. Now we have other meta tags also. So let's say meta, and let's say name, and this should be keywords, and let's say content, and inside the content let's say we want HTML, comma CSS, comma let's suppose we want JavaScript. This is how you can declare some keywords. And let's declare another meta. So let's say this one is for the description of the document. So in here for the name let's say description, and for the content let's say my example document, and this is how you can declare a description. Now let's declare another meta tag, and let's suppose this one is to define the author of the web page. So what we can do is for the name let's declare author, and for the content let's say John Doe, and let's declare another meta. So let's suppose this one is for refreshing the page, and we want to refresh the page each 10 seconds or after each 10 seconds. So we can use another attribute which comes with meta tag, and that is http-equif. And let's declare it, for example, refresh, and let's say for the content we want 10 seconds. And let's declare the viewport also. So in here let's say meta, and let's say name should be viewport, and for the content let's say width should equal to device hyphen width, and let's put a comma, and let's say initial hyphen scale should equal to 1.0. Now I will explain this viewport meta tag in a moment, but for now let's get back to our browser, and if I refresh now you won't see any changes, because that's the nature of meta tags, that it will only used by the browsers to perform some important tasks. Now to check if our meta tags are available, we can go to the view page source, and you can see all of our meta tags are available in here. So let's get back to our text editor, and now in here for this meta tag of viewport, you can see we have this width device width, pot which sets the width of the page to follow the screen width of the device, and the initial scale 1.0 says the initial zoom level when the page is first loaded by the browser. Now next up we have the script tag in the head section, which you are also familiar with, and previously we added the script tag at the bottom before the closing tag of the body, but you can also add your script tag in the head section. So to show you this one, let's press enter here, and always try to add your script tags at the very end of the head section. So let's say script, and let's close this tag, and inside here let's create a function. So my function, and curly braces, and inside here let's say document dot get element by id, and we want the demo id, which I will create in a moment, and let's change the inner HTML. So it should be equal to, let's say, hello world. Now let's create this demo paragraph, or let's give this paragraph an ID. So let's say this should be demo, and let's create our button. So in here let's say button, and let's close it, and let's say for the text click me, and let's say the type should be button, and let's say on click we want to fire my function. Now if I save it and get back to the browser, refresh, and if I click on it, now you can see the text is saying hello world. And finally we have the HTML base element in the head section, which specifies the base URL or a target for all relative URLs in a web page. So the base element must have either the href or target attribute present, or both. And there can only be one single base element in a single document. So to show you an example of this one, let's get back to the text editor, and what we can do is remove all of our tags first, and let's also remove the meta tags, or let's leave it, guys. So to create a base element, let's press enter here, and let's say base, and for the base what we have is the href first. So we want to declare a base URL, let's say for the images folder slash, and we want this one to be targeted to a blank page. So let's say target underscore blank, and let's go to our body, and in here first of all let's create an image tag for the source. This time because we have the base URL or base element, we can just call the image, so 1.jpg, and let's say we want a width for it, which should be 400, and an alt for it, which should be, let's say, image. And let's also create an anchor tag, so let's close it, and let's say HTML base element, and let's say this one should have an href. We should load for example do.jpg, and that's all. So let's get back to the browser, and you can already see that our image is being loaded for us, and if we click on the HTML base element, you can see it's also loading our image. So this being done, our video has come to an end, and you have learned about HTML iframes, HTML JavaScript, HTML file paths, and HTML head section. So if you find this video useful, don't forget to give the thumbs up and a nice comment also, and if you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe too if you want to watch more videos like this. So thanks for watching, see ya in the next video.